Shalom, shalom, beloveds. How y'all doing? Looking at the sky. Y'all see it? The sky look beautiful today. This will probably be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to tap in, and I got my Invisalign in, so y'all bear with me. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, I want to let y'all know that I appreciate y'all most definitely. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep saying that. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of y'all, those who continuously face things. You know what I'm talking about. Those who are really genuine, you know what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Those who tend to, I guess, have, ill will or whatever, I just pray and hope that y'all grow eventually. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't continue to hold on to false ideologies, you know what I'm talking about, within yourselves, you know what I'm saying, forever. One thing that I learned in life is that whenever we tend to hold on to those things that we think that we are truly not, it want to line up with our personality. And whenever we see that it doesn't line up with our personality, we tend to, I guess, lose a sense of self. I've been down that road before, trying to fit in, you know what I'm saying, with the norm of society, and trying to make sure that everything, works out into a certain direction that I had planned for it to work out. But one thing about it that I know is if you want to make the Most High laugh, tell them your plans, right? So the more and more we continue to learn, we continue to understand and, understand and, overstand the factions of wisdom. You know what I'm talking about? Wisdom is basically knowledge applied with experience. And so what you end up growing from that, what you tend to, where you grow from that is how you'll be able to utilize that wisdom. You know what I'm saying? If you don't grow, then you won't be able to have wisdom. So those of y'all who are growing in life and you know what I'm saying, tackling on challenges and stuff like that and succeeding and everything like that, most definitely every day, y'all most definitely are, you know what I'm saying, y'all are very wise. And so you'll have a lot of people that tend to want to come against you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, it's not, some people don't have the pure intentions of doing so. It's just that you can irritate people's demons. You know what I'm saying? You can end up making a person feel like less than. Because one thing that I know, and I want to speak on this today, right? But when people feel like a lack of sense of self within who they are, Salakia, excuse me, and they tend to see who you are and how you operate, you know what I'm saying? And they see that you're able to accomplish things that they weren't able to accomplish, you know what I'm saying, whenever they had certain things lined up for them to be able to, accomplish these things. From you, with you being able to make it, you know what I'm saying, with just little, or making it without the things that they had. Some people had handouts, some people had a team and all this type of stuff. And you might not have a big team. You might just, you know what I'm saying, just be you and, you know what I'm saying, Team Yah, Team God, you know what I'm saying, Team Jehovah, right? Team Elohim, you know what I'm saying? And so when they see that, sometimes they tend to get jealous of that blessing, of that anointing. You know what I'm talking about? It's the same thing like with Cain and Abel. Is Abel wasn't really required a lot, you know what I'm saying, but Cain was required a lot. The thing about it is that Cain still had favor, because once Abel was, you know what I'm saying, killed and stuff, once he had murdered Abel, you know what I'm saying, then it was one of his commands that nobody should touch a hair on his head, you know what I'm saying, nobody can do him nothing. He allowed Cain to be able to go through that in order for him to be able to gain some sense of wisdom through his situation, right? Seeing the error of his ways, and you know what I'm saying, going through that pain and everything, because we know that the Father tends to use a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that are not very ideal in order to take us to a direction of elevation and edification, regardless of how bad certain situations are in our lives and stuff like that, right? So just keep that in mind. But one thing I want to talk to y'all about was this, is identity. You know what I'm saying? Identify. Who do you identify as? What do you identify as? I see that in these times, you know what I'm saying, so many people will, they grasp onto, you know what I'm saying, the grandiose fallacy of, you know what I'm saying, identification within themselves, to the point of they tend to be like, okay, well, this is me. This is me. You know what I'm saying? But yet whenever certain situations and scenarios happen, then they're not who they said that they were, right? And this shows that they still have a little bit ways to go, you know what I'm saying, and to grow into their own experience, you know what I'm talking about, to really configure who they truly are. This is one thing that's an attack from the devil, is because it kind of ties into, you know, I guess trauma bonding, you know what I'm saying. Some people think that trauma bonding just means that trauma bonding, you know what I'm saying, with other people, but you can trauma bond, you know what I'm talking about, with self. And so when we tend to feel like that, okay, well, I've been through this so much, you know what I'm saying, this is who I am, then I identify as that. It's like whenever I was, you know what I'm saying, really heavy in the street, like, man, you know what I'm talking about, I ended up basically identifying as a product of my environment. And so I'm saying that to say that you don't have to identify as a product of your environment, because you're an unfinished product. We're always a work in progress, right? And so you guys excuse me, because these Invisaligns making my lips dry, especially with the cold weather. You know, but when you tend to identify yourself as something, you know what I'm saying, and it doesn't fully align with you all the way, then you are casting, you know what I'm saying, a stronghold on yourself. You're casting that yoke on your own neck. You're allowing yourself to be able to, I guess, to be open to those burdens, you know what I'm saying, that come with that, right? And so one thing that made me think about that was, because I was like, you know what? I know like 4 different types of people in life. I know the person that likes to fight but can't fight. I know the person that don't like to fight but they can fight. I know the person that likes to fight and can fight. And I know the person that doesn't like to fight and can't fight, right? And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, this is kind of how people in life are. Is that those who like to fight and can't fight, they like to deflect and project, you know what I'm saying, and it's a sense of trying to, I guess, show some form of courage, or I guess like a protection, you know what I'm talking about, because they know they can't fight for real. So it's like, well, it's a form of protection, you know what I'm saying, if I can go ahead and give off the, you know, the ideology of this, then I can identify as this and people can see me for it, you know what I'm saying. And so there are people in life that do that, and they feel like that in order for them to be able to maneuver through life, you have to be aggressive. You have to be, you know what I'm saying, take nothing from anybody and all this type of stuff, right? And when we live in society that a lot of people are really like that, you know what I'm saying, it'll be like the same thing where people, I look at it, I view it like this, as people that say that they want to stand up for something, you know what I'm saying. They want to be able to attain change. They want justice and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying. They want liberty, you know what I'm talking about. But yet in the same sense, they tend to try to make excuses and stuff like this for all the things that they can in order for them to stay stuck and stagnant, you know what I'm talking about, and stay held in the strongholds of how the system operates, right? So it's just like when people will be like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying, I'm tired of the system, I'm tired of the government, all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They have that fighter mentality. But then when it comes down to now you're going to stand on your square, what you going to stand for? They'll be the main ones to make excuses to continue to do, you know what I'm saying, what they is comfortable with doing, right? And so you have to be careful with these type of people, because people will tend to show their identity, you know what I'm saying, in your circle whenever situations rear its head, right? Certain scenarios and stuff like that. People will tell you how they feel without they'll show you how they feel without telling you, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be like you might feel like the system is flawed with certain things or whatever, right? And then there'll be some people that mess around and feel like that they'll act like that they with you, but then at the same time, whenever the fallacies and the stuff that they like to orchestrate and operate in, you know what I'm talking about, then they'll end up being like, oh, well, and if anybody who says anything about this type of thing, you know what I'm saying, you are issue or whatever, but you're supposed to be on the same team. It's people like that. And this is, the system likes these type of people is because these type of people don't really have a backbone. They won't really stand up. They'll pretend like they're standing up, but you know what I'm saying, it's just like the bully look like, well, they can't fight themselves out of a wet paper bag, you know what I'm talking about. They won't bust a grape. You know what I'm saying? And so they plank on that. They want a lot of these type of people, right? The devil works that same way. The devil is like, well, let me go ahead and please these people with this and have them stuck into this thing, you know what I'm saying, so they can be able to have a sense of lost identity. So they'll think that it's something that, you know what I'm saying, or that there's something or whatever, but yet they don't really have the full entirety of it, nor will they even undergo. So I don't worry about these people. These people I'll use, you know what I'm talking about, to be against those things, that those who really stand up, you know what I'm saying, against certain things, right? Then you have those who, let's see here, those who don't like to fight and can't fight. So like I just got through talking about those who like to fight but can't. Now we're talking about those who don't like to fight but can't fight, right? These are the people in society that will end up, they have kind of lost faith and hope in themselves. They feel defeated, you know what I'm saying? They have a desire, they want to, but they know that, well, I can't, so therefore, you know what I'm saying, I don't really have the go about it, you know what I'm talking about, so I just kind of left things to happen. Now, one thing that's beautiful about these type of people, though, is that these people learn to be able to fight it in a different type of way, a different type of format, you know what I'm saying? They might not be able to fight physically, but there'll be things that they'll try to learn how to fight with their mind or whatever, or you know what I'm saying, fight with the materials that's around them or whatever, right? So if they have money, they'll try to fight with money and stuff like this. There's some ways they'll try to utilize it, but they can't fight. But still, they'll try to adapt some type of way, and it's a 50-50 with these type of people. These people are very much usable, you know what I'm saying? Anybody for the kingdom is most definitely, you know what I'm saying, the most I can use anybody, right? So let me not make it seem like it's one-sided with that, right? And some of these people, they identify themselves as weak, but they're not really weak. I've seen a lot of people who don't like to fight and can't fight be backed into corners, and they end up, you know what I'm saying, fighting out of fear, developing like a fight or flight mentality, you know what I'm saying, a fight mentality rather than a flight mentality, right? Which means that they'll stand and you know what I'm saying, go ahead and fight themselves out of the corner. It's like a cat backed up in the corner, you know what I'm saying, the cat gonna come out scratching. So they'll end up having that type of formula within inside themselves. And so whenever they feel like, oh, well, you know, I'm a coward and I can't, you know what I'm saying, these people have a lot more that's inside them that, you know what I'm saying, is a lot more than, you know, what meets the eye. And the reason I say that is because I've met some people, you know what I'm saying, through different walks in life, and They'll mess around and think that they not, oh, I can't, and they'll tell themselves, because they allow the enemy to tell them lies. And the enemy banks on these people, you know what I'm saying, not being able to rise up out of situations in order to be able to be, you know what I'm saying, spiritually or physically combative against injustices and stuff like this, right? There's another reason why the devil uses the system, you know what I'm saying, of injustice to continuously be unfair with a lot of people, and to have people more fear-based, feeling like that, okay, well, if I do try to stand up, then these people might mess around and do me something, and so I don't want to, you know what I'm saying. But there are certain things that the Most High will place in these people's, you know what I'm saying, stewardship, in these people's, you know what I'm saying, jurisdiction, atmosphere, that these people will tend to really care for, right? It could be anything from family members to offspring to children to creativity. Like, they have ideas or something like this that they've ended up making, and so they're protected with their lives. You know what I'm saying? It's just, he uses many different things in order for, you know what I'm saying, this to kind of stem out of these people. He'll even use the same thing of, well, you know what I'm saying, it's the end of the road, so now it's either all or nothing, right? And so the enemy tends to use these people, you know what I'm saying. When these people are in your circle, you must pour into these people. You pour into them. Society has a lot of these type of people, you know what I'm saying. They feel like that maybe they're not enough or whatever, you know, and this is why I like to pour into a lot of people, because, you know what I'm saying, one thing about it is that not many people have been watered on both spectrums. The one who likes to fight but can't fight a lick, you know what I'm saying, they haven't really been watered and nourished, you know what I'm saying, properly. Same thing as the ones who don't like to fight and can't fight, right? And so then you have the ones who like to fight and can fight, right? Now, this is a predominant of people that's, you know what I'm saying, in, I guess, in the world. Well, not really in the world. We'll say like America. We'll just talk about America. You know what I'm saying? Right? And so the thing about it is that these people tend to do this. They tend to have a fighter mentality and like to fight, you know what I'm saying, due to the fact that they like to get off aggression. They like to get off their aggression. They have certain things that are embedded within inside themselves that, you know what I'm saying, they always look for a form of releasing these things. Once they look for a form of releasing these things, you know what I'm saying, they'll look the avenue of being, you know what I'm saying, aggressive or confrontational, combative or whatever, right? And it's a 50-50 with that. There are some that will mess around and they do it because they're hurt, and so they don't have anywhere else to place or to put the anger, the trauma, the blame and the doubt, you know what I'm saying, the pain. This is why, you know what I'm saying, like, I know this for a fact because there are certain people that, you know what I'm talking about, that I met that, you know what I'm saying, we've been in the same circle, and before they get ready to, you know what I'm saying, tussle, before we all hop out there to get the thumping, you know what I'm talking about, it'll be, they'll have this thing where they will try to remember, that they tell me this, they'll try to remember all the things that went wrong in their life and all this type of stuff, and they take that out and they take it out on the person, right? And then, like I said, it's a 50-50 with a lot of these things. And so when the people tend to have that type of mentality, you know what I'm saying, there's a part of them that is not really healed. And so because it's not really healed, they're looking for an exit route to be able to heal that thing. And instead of, you know what I'm saying, being able to go inside, then it's like, well, I don't feel like dealing with all that right now, so therefore I'm a just, you know what I'm saying, whoever, it's anybody can get it type mentality, right? And that's why I say that's kind of how, you know what I'm saying, a lot of a majority of America is, or the government, the system, you know what I'm saying, is that they have all this anger and pain that the enemy has invoked into these people's lives, to a lot of our lives. And so they tend to look for an exit way, you know what I'm saying, an exit route. And because they have not been given the opportunity for them to really sit in the calmness of their thoughts and being able to sit in the calmness of their spirit and allow certain things to happen, then it's like, okay, well, I just look for a victim. So it's more like they kind of turn into bullies, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it's, like I said, it's a 50-50, because sometimes there are people that they mess around and they will end up being that type of person, right? And so as they're that type of person, then, you know what I'm saying, they either be a bully, or they'll like to just, well, because they grew from that point of somebody who was bullied, so therefore, like, okay, well, I just like to defend. So that's one of my things. I feel my act of service is to be able to defend. So, you know what I'm saying, like I said, it's a 50-50 with that, right? That's why, because those type of people have stemmed from a person who didn't like to fight and can't fight. You got to a point where it's like, well, nah, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, they'll develop the thing where it's like, oh, well, you know what, this ain't too bad. You know what I'm saying? I've been allowing this to go on, and then they see something in somebody else that, well, you don't defend yourself, I'm going to defend you. Right? Now, the last person is those who don't like to fight but can. Those who don't like to fight but can, or people who don't really, they really don't like a lot of confrontation. You know what I'm saying? Two reasons. One is that they have done working inside themselves, and they know, you know what I'm saying, how far they can take it. They can possibly be very dangerous, you know what I'm saying, once they release, you know what I'm talking about. So they'll try to find every kind of way, Salakia, they'll try to find every kind of way to be like, you know what, you got it, you got it, you got it. And so society will identify these people, you know what I'm saying, and some of them will even identify themselves, you know what I'm saying, as I guess, they'll tend to say that they're weak, you know what I'm saying, but I prefer the word meek. Meek, the definition of meek means to be able to know that you can, annihilate a person, you know what I'm saying, or know that you can do something that is not called of you until a certain, you know what I'm saying, a certain incident or whatever scenario, right? But you refrain from that, knowing that you can burn the town down, but yet you know what I'm saying, hide your matches, right? And another thing, the other side of that, the second part of that, right, is that because I kind of already spoke about it in the first part of it, you know what I'm saying, is that there those people that end up, they have a fear for, you know what I'm saying, the uncontrollable within inside themselves. They know that they can actually be a lot more, you know what I'm saying, handful than what meets the eye, you know what I'm saying, if provoked enough, right? So you have the person that is able to be more once they're provoked, you know what I'm saying, that can be dangerous. But then also you have the other person, the other side of that, which is that they know that, you know what I'm saying, they know their abilities, they know, you know what I'm saying, that how far they will take it, or how far they'll allow somebody to take them, you know what I'm saying, until they have to defend themselves, right? And so this is some of the people, you know what I'm saying, that are standing in these times. This is kind of like, I look at that as, you know what I'm saying, I won't say a majority, but I'll say a nice little number, some, you know what I'm talking about, of I guess what people can end up calling them chosen ones or whatever, right? Is because they have tolerated enough in order for them, you know what I'm saying, to really see the different spectrums and be like, you know what, some things are worth fighting for, some things are not worth fighting for. Now, I'm not saying that those are just the ones. There's, like I said, the Most High uses everybody. You know what I'm saying? But the reason I'm speaking about these different type of four different characteristics is because society is not so much far from that. And so people tend to they will tend to place an identity on themselves, you know what I'm talking about, which which lines up with the ideology. So one thing is that an identity is who you are. You know what I'm talking about? Your identity is who you are. Regardless of what you label yourself as, you know what I'm saying, it's who you are. And so in a system where in a time where the enemy tries to create a system of where many people can identify as all these other things, you know what I'm saying, your identity is still your identity. So it's just like if you're a male and you're identifying as a female, but you still a male, you know what I'm saying, you're a male. That's your identity for real. The other thing that would be would be the ideology, would be the fallacy that you want people to go along with, right? And vice versa. So that's how the enemy likes to work. And he does that through many different things. The enemy will be like, you know what I'm saying, yeah, you a demon and all this type of stuff, and you come into agreement with it and you try to be on demon time and all this type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, but yet you really are a person that has been hurt, and so you're looking for an escape way, you know what I'm talking about, in order for you to take out the aggressions and the traumas of life. So then you are being pitted into that point of a person who likes to fight and knows how to fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just in a misappropriated way, right? And the enemy uses this. This is another reason why I said that this is a majority of America, or not even just America, really. It's a lot of people, you know what I'm talking about, is because so many people have been hurt. The enemy has done so many things to a lot of us as we were growing up, you know what I'm talking about, and as we were grown, and relationships and situations and, you know what I'm saying, scenarios and experiences, right? And that's why I say that. But I need to let you know, or I need you to know, you know what I'm saying, that the identity that you consider yourself to be it might not necessarily be your identity. You know what I'm saying? The times that unravel in your situation and the scenarios that unfold in your life, you know what I'm talking about, are things to help show you your true identity, right? And so this is another reason, because the flip side of that is that when I see somebody that's like, okay, well, this is who I am, and you know what I'm saying, I'm for everybody, I'm for peace and all this type of stuff, but then when certain things happen, then you run to calamity and you run into slandering, and you know what I'm saying, you run into, you know what I'm saying, fallacy, you know what I'm talking about, then that shows who you are, right? But I say that to say this, is that whenever because a lot of people have seen these type of people in their lives, whenever we see these type of people in our lives, it's not your job to, you know what I'm saying, I guess, like, hate these people. They just show you who they are. These people will definitely will need a little bit more prayer and more time. Now, this doesn't mean that you keep them in your circle and give them, okay, I'm a, continue to put the knife in your hand and stab me, or, you know what I'm saying. No, it's like, you heal over there, but I wish the best for you. Because there's times that, you know what I'm saying, that you identified, or let me just say this, that I or we have identified as something totally different, you know what I'm saying, and where certain situations happen, we didn't show up as what we said we would, right? And this is everybody, you know what I'm saying. If there's anybody that will say, no, I've always been, no, you haven't, you know what I'm saying, because you have to be able to learn through certain experiences in order for you to tolerate, or for you to know what to tolerate, and boundaries to be formed, and what you won't tolerate, and you know what I'm saying, in order for you. So don't lie to yourself. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing we're not doing. We're not lying to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Well, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me, right? And so when we keep this in mind, you know what I'm saying, then we should tend to be able to be a little bit more delicate, you know what I'm saying, with our brothers and sisters, right? Now, there'll be a lot of them that mess around and they want to, they tend to go along, get along and stuff like this, and, you know, all that extra type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, which is fine, because now this shows you that you are a little bit more of a handful, you know what I'm saying, with just little old you, than, you know what I'm saying, what they would tell you that you are, right? They can be like, okay, well, you nothing. It's like high school, you know what I'm saying? If you was a female and you were in high school, you know what I'm saying, the other females thought that you were prettier, so they got mad and would tell you that you was ugly, you know what I'm saying, try to high side and score on your dress code, or act like that you not nothing, or, you know what I'm saying, go around spreading rumors about you ain't this, or talking about that you promiscuous, and all these extra little things, you know what I'm saying, that teeny bops do, you know what I'm talking about. And if you a dude, you know what I'm saying, yeah, talk about how you lame, or how, you know what I'm saying, you this, or you not that, or you stink, or you know what I'm saying, all these extra type of stuff, you know what I'm talking about. They'll say all this extra type of stuff to make you seem not so appealing, you know what I'm saying, until people get to meet you and they see you, right? So this is the thing. Within these times, and so many things happening in your lives, do you see who you really are? Who do you really identify as? You know what I'm saying? Who is your identity that you see you to be? You know what I'm saying? Not who you perceive you to be. Not who you imagine, not who you you know what I'm saying, idealize you to be, but who you truly are. And is it something that you like, or is it something that you dislike? If it's something that you like and yet you scared that everybody else won't accept you or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you still kind of have a ways to go. If it's something that you like and you don't care if everybody accepts it or not, you know what I'm saying, then you're more than halfway there, right? The main thing, though, is that even how you feel, or what you feel like that you identify as, you know what I'm saying, or who you are, right? Then it's about who, you know what I'm saying, the Father created you to be. And so when you look at it like that, then you will look at it as, oh, you know what? Okay, so I see why these things happen, or why, you know, we go through this, or why, you know what I'm saying, I need fine-tuning here, or, you know what I'm saying, because of those different, you know what I'm saying, type of retrospects, right? And when you don't like, this is another part too, you know what I'm saying, this is kind of where this stemmed from, because I've seen some people that'll mess around and they'll speak about how they feel horrible and miserable down within themselves, you know what I'm saying, and so they feel like it's a lost cause, right? And they'd be like, you know, pray for me and all this type of stuff, and I'm mad with myself, I'm disappointed, I'm sad, or I feel depressed, so I need a hug, all this type of stuff, you know what I'm saying. There are certain things that they have awakened to about themselves, and they don't like those things, right? And so one of the main things is that in your tribulation, in your storm that you're facing, you know what I'm saying, just know that that's not who you are all the way. You know what I'm saying? You're growing. So there are things that are being pruned, you know what I'm saying, in your life, and there are things that are being, you know what I'm saying, purged, you know what I'm saying, from above of you, right? So don't allow the stress and the self-realization of certain things, you know what I'm saying, that were not really you, that were of you, you know what I'm saying, that were not really of you or you, right? Don't allow those to be the end-all, be-all in your life. Don't allow those things to be like, okay, well, dang, I've been a horrible person, I've been this, or, you know what I'm saying, I've been promiscuous and all this, or, you know what I'm saying, don't worry about it. Don't allow those things to have anchor, you know what I'm saying, into your life, with your relationship with the Most High, your relationship with yourself. That's not your identity. You're a work in progress. Everybody's a work in progress. Keep that in mind. Everybody's a work in progress. Even whenever it's those of us who seem like that we have a lot more, you know what I'm saying, in line and a lot more together, we still continuously are working in progress. You know what I'm saying? We're works in progress. Nobody's perfect. You know? Some people, you know, tend to be like, okay, because they view a lot of us as a person that, you know what I'm saying, has it all together or whatever, then they look for the excuses of, okay, well, if I can just find anything wrong with their lives so I can feel better, you know what I'm saying, about me and stuff like that. That's the wrong mindset to have, beloved. You know what I'm saying? Because whenever you have that type of mindset, then, you know what I'm saying, you allow the devil to take free reign in your life. And you allow yourself to be a weakling and for the enemy to go ahead and misuse you. You know what I'm saying? And use you for anything else. Because it shows that you don't want to for real be accountable. It's just like, okay, well, I feel like they this, so now if I can at least have something to put them underneath me, then I can exalt myself and my flaws and make myself an excuse that I don't have to have any kind of flaws. That's fallacy. And that's what I mean by that, right? So it's a very deadly game that people play with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the midst of that, you can mess around and try to do whatever you can to place somebody underneath you. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that the Most High can use this person, and then the Most High mess around and will put you in a situation where things start tearing apart because you had ill will and ill intent against somebody who he really wanted to use. And as he put them in your life to be a blessing, then you know what I'm saying, allowed your pride and your ego to downtrot these people. You know what I'm talking about? And to mishandle these people and to, you know what I'm saying, slander and even try to, you know what I'm saying, set up or do all kind of wicked stuff against these people. And the Most High is like, I'm not having it. Because you don't know what I sent them for. I sent them because you needed a prayer, because you prayed that you needed somebody, you know what I'm saying, that wouldn't be so much like the world. And I put them in your life. And once I put them in your life, then you didn't know how to handle them. You didn't know how to be delicate. I want you to be delicate. I heard your tears. I stored your tears up, you know what I'm saying, in many bottles and used them as diamonds to be something so precious. And I release favor in your life. I've done it with different people, with different scenarios and stuff like this, but yet you were not a good stewardship over those things and those people who are placed in your life. So now you set yourself up for something for it to be a hard lesson. And now you can't be one of them people that end up, you know what I'm saying, being a person who loves to fight and can fight, and then misappropriating your anger and taking your anger out on everybody else, because the main person that the anger needs to be released on is yourself. But even that, you know what I'm saying, you should really be mad at yourself, but at the same time, you just release that and give it up to the Most High. You can't accept blessings with both hands cleansed. He can bless you in your situations. You see that? It's a very tedious step, but it's a lot easier than what people think it is. You know what I'm saying? And what I say by that is, I mean, like it's simple, complexity and simplicity. It's complex, but it has simplicities to it. But not too many people are looking for it, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are looking to make self-excuses or, you know what I'm saying, project or deflect and all these type of things, you know what I'm saying? Or looking at, okay, well, I can't get that, or therefore, well, I don't want to do that, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be able to have, the milk without the cow, you know what I'm saying? Or have the cow without the milk or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, it don't work that way. Most High didn't set it up that way. You know what I'm saying? And this is like people who don't like to release certain things. They hold on to grudges, or, you know what I'm saying, they hold on to, you know what I'm saying, certain wicked practices and stuff like that. And, you know, they want to be like, okay, well, this gives me empowerment. This is what makes me, you know what I'm saying, when the thing about it is the world can shut down tomorrow. And those things, those false fallacies and false ideologies that you were holding on to, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have anybody else that can be affected by those things, then now you lose that power. You lose that ability to be able to use that thing, what you said that you felt like it was you, right? Think about it. If the world shut down tomorrow and you didn't have contact with anybody, right? Things of trying to do death spells and all these little magics and all this type of stuff, or even, you know what I'm saying, to pretend to be somebody that you're not, you know what I'm talking about, who would you be able to have to impress? Who would it actually be able to work on? Nobody. You would just be by yourself. Then would you still be into that same thing that you're holding on to so tightly? Or would you release that thing and be like, you know what? Let me do something different. And that's what I mean by that. It's the same thing that when we deal in life with certain things, you know what I'm saying? It's things, you know what I'm talking about, that is not you. So don't allow false ideologies, or, you know what I'm saying, the go along, get along, and all this extra stuff, you know what I'm saying, to make reverence, you know what I'm saying, in your life about something that you tend to identify with that's not really you. There's so many people. I can say the same thing like this, and it's like, if you was the last person on earth, you know what I'm saying, and you female want to identify as a male, or a male want to identify as a female, or whatever, if you was the last person on earth, would you still choose to be that? If you was a person that you are a person that you want to pretend like that you really are operating in spirituality, with actually having a connection with the Father, and you just doing it just for the likes and the views, or just because you can get some type of form of monetary gain. If you was the last person on earth, if nobody else was able to know you or whatever, would you still be dabbling in what you dabbling in? That's how my mind works, right? Is that people tend to think that, I guess, those who really kind of have the same type of how I am, that we do this for it to be, if I was the last person on earth, I would still have my relationship with the Most High. I would still be praying, you know what I'm saying? There'd be days that I probably wouldn't feel like praying, but I would still pray. There'd be days I wouldn't feel like praising, but I would still give praise. You see that? Because I know I'm not alone. I know that's my friend. I know that's my Father. So it wouldn't change. So that's the difference to why I am who I am. There's a difference to why my identity, you know what I'm saying, is in Christ. My identity is in the Father. This is why my identity is in righteousness and really having love and compassion, because even if I was the last person on earth, you know what I'm saying, I would still love the trees and stuff like this. I would still love the land, the atmosphere, and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? I would still love the animals, the creation. Even if there was no animals or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it would be kind of depressing, because it's like, well, dang, but I would still love, you know what I'm saying, the fact that I live amongst the creation. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, is for some of us, things are not a facade. For some of us, they are. You have to know who you are, you know what I'm saying, and know what you really, you know what I'm saying, what you really have, who you are truly, what is your real identity. So I just kind of want somebody to think about that, you know what I'm saying. I just be in my thoughts a lot of times, but I feel like that's very powerful, because not too many people really will be like, you know what, I like who I am. I identify with who I am. You know what I'm saying? I see my identity. I see who made me. You know what I'm saying? Some people still just different things is because they harbor certain things. So it's like, okay, well, this is just what I want to identify as. You know what I'm saying? And that, another thing real quick before I leave, is this does not mean that you are not able to change. One thing that is consistent, you know what I'm saying, that will never change is change. Change always changes. Change never changes. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as that sounds, right? But change never changes. Change is always constant. Which is, you know what I'm saying, to be able to develop growth. You can change for the better, you can change for the bitter. But it's up to you. It's your decision to be able to do so. And so when you realize that, then, you know what I'm saying, you tend to kind of formulate, you know what I'm saying, the real direction of where you want to go and what you need to change and how you want to grow in your life, right? But I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I thank y'all for even just listening. You know what I'm saying? This is my thought process, and just hoping that some people can get some seeds and stuff like that off of these things. You know what I'm saying? But I love y'all for real. You know what I'm talking about? I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Continue to hold boundaries. You know what I'm talking about? Don't allow everybody access to you. Know your worth. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to the lies that people talk about you with, and you know what I'm saying, and just stop being so hard on yourself. Take time to breathe in, breathe out, and appreciate where you are in these moments, you know what I'm saying, in life. Allow yourself to be able to cherish allow yourself to be able to cherish, you know what I'm saying, like where you are and what's around you. Celebrate those who celebrate you, you know what I'm saying. You don't have to be anywhere where you're not tolerated, you know what I'm talking about. You know, just appreciate who you are. Appreciate and be delicate with yourself, you know what I'm saying. Don't just continuously give yourself excuses, because sometimes people will feel like that, well, you know, everything is going to be here tomorrow and all this type of stuff, so therefore I have an excuse to go ahead and still dabble into ignorance, you know what I'm saying, or into some dumb stuff. You see that? And just as you have, you know what I'm saying, awoken this day, there are some people who haven't. And who's to say that your number might not be on the list for tomorrow or the day after? So this is another reason why we say to make sure that you cherish the days. You know what I'm saying? Like Sade say, cherish the days. Make sure you cherish the days. Cherish those people. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing is promised. The Most High owes you nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's called grace and mercy. One of them is not getting what you do deserve, and the other one is getting what you don't deserve. So just, you know, whenever you keep that aspect in that mind, it should be a little bit more easier to, you know what I'm saying, maneuver through society, maneuver through reality. You know, so I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I really do love y'all, most definitely. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep going to war for y'all and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? One thing also I learned, and I want to give this to some people too, is that intercede, but do not intervene. Sometimes, you know, we have this thing of where, I was talking to my pops about this, and so sometimes we have this thing where we have developed a superhero complex, where we feel like that it's our job to go ahead and intervene in people's lives and to be able to save them and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? And when we do that, we tend to get in the way of what the will of the Most High is trying to do with people, right? And another thing is that we developed that, you know what I'm saying, from like abandonment, you know what I'm saying, having abandonment issues, not being able to have what we required, you know what I'm saying, as we were growing up, and being rejected. So it's a simple way of being able to fight to be accepted and all this type of stuff. It's very deep, you know what I'm saying, psychology. And my pops is like, dang, you've gotten really wise, you know what I'm saying, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's just me in my experience, and also, you know what I'm saying, really therapy, and, you know what I'm talking about, really taking time to pray and being able to have revelations in the spirit, you know what I'm talking about, is there's nobody like the Most High. I can guarantee you that. But, you know, just know that it's okay to intercede, but you don't always have to intervene. You know, that's just like how a parent will allow their child to crawl up a tree or crawl up, you know, gymnasiums and stuff like, little gymnasium things or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so every time they crawling, then you like right there trying to, you know what I'm saying, ready to intercede. Sometimes you have to allow them the ability in the space to be able to, you know what I'm saying, formulate their dynamic, create a formula that works for them, right? So it might be that they might fall down off of it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? If they're not so high, they might fall down or whatever. So then that teaches them that, okay, well, I got to be a little bit careful when I do this. But if you see them doing it carefully, You don't always have to, you know what I'm saying, have this thing to want to intervene, because then you feel like it's in your control. Don't stand in the way of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Allow the Most High to be able to operate in their lives and in yours, because it's teaching you to release control, and it's teaching for them to trust in themselves and to know that, you know what I'm saying, that He has them. You see that? Nobody can really teach the lessons that the Most High teaches, you know what I'm saying, unless He gives somebody a revelation in order for them to be able to explain and expound on certain things, you know what I'm talking about. But still, even with us being able to do that, you know what I'm saying, we're not able to really teach lessons the way the Most High is able to do it. This is why He uses us as tools and weapons and instruments, you know what I'm talking about, for His kingdom. This is why He perfects His work within us. So, with that, I bid y'all adieu, you know what I'm saying, just some things to think about. I love y'all most definitely, you know what I'm talking about, seriously. And to those who hate, you know what I'm saying, most definitely appreciate y'all. Sometimes it's cool to live in a place without having to pay rent, you know what I'm talking about, rent free inside of other people's minds when they're not rent free in mine at all, right? But I just really hope that they grow. I hope y'all grow, the ones who haters, you know what I'm saying. But the rest of y'all, the Kadoshim, I love y'all. Stay strong, you know what I'm saying. Stay prayed up. Stay encouraged, most definitely, you know what I'm saying. Know that the Most High loves y'all severely, you know what I'm saying. The Most High loves y'all for real. Way more than I can ever love y'all. Know that the Lord loves y'all for real. Way more than I could ever love y'all. You know. So keep that in mind and continue to be great. You know what I'm saying. Peace. Shalom.